Crypto Cave. It's a lovely Friday morning over here from a fucking cold Helsinki, Finland. Holy moly, man, it's snowing once again. It's like middle of March already, and nothing's changed over here. Everyone's a goddamn icicle. So with that said, I would like to wish you the best, and the happiest on this nice little Friday morning, of which I actually have to say that Elsa, as I do see all the comments about Elsa and the spoons and forks going on right now, unfortunately, she's actually not really feeling all that well, and she's still in bed, still sleeping it off. So hopefully things turn around, but for now, no forks on this morning, unfortunately. Anyways, with that said, let's get into the Krown Chain application over here, which can be found at app.krownchain.net. By the way, it's 100% free. And also, I've been getting a lot of questions about this for the Discord. Anyone's allowed to join the Discord, by the way. You just have to figure out your way past the alt identifier bot. It's quite simple, but for those of you who might be new to the internet, there is an instructional video that is the intro video for this channel. That can run you through that if you so need that extra help. Anyways, with that said, it's just gonna essentially give you like a DM at the top left of your corner. Whenever you join Discord, you get 10 minutes to essentially run through the verification process, and then all good. You can be a part of the Discord or not. It's all good. Either which way, both free and available to you whenever you so desire, and the links in the description below. Anyways, with that said, on the Krown Chain application, there are plenty of things kind of staring at me like a fucking snake right now, of which big one right here, open interest at the highest level that we've ever seen ever actually in the history of cryptocurrencies, or just Bitcoin, that is, as Bitcoin is the longest running cryptocurrency now, isn't it? Anyways, more importantly, we do see that it's above 10.5 billion actually right now, of which that is alongside price action essentially reapproaching the prior all-time high, and on CMEs even making new all-time highs. So I would say that is more or less good, still playing in the narrative that we have been seeing, well, reaccumulation. I think that that's been pretty damn fucking obvious for the last week to a half week here, and that is still playing into our long-term analysis. So with that said, as always, want to keep that one in the back of our mind's eye, because that is going to rear its actually really nice and lovely head once again soon enough. Anyways, Bitcoin dominance also heading up a little bit, or kind of holding a range more or less over the last week or so. We have seen a range established essentially between about 60% low and about 61.5% high, of which I am still looking at this as a major low here, with most altcoins not going to be faring all that well versus their Bitcoin pairing if and when Bitcoin does get going here, of which anytime that we do see Bitcoin kind of take a leg up, altcoins are losing their value versus Satoshis. Obviously versus US dollar, it's a different story, but those are completely different charts, as we had a very interesting conversation about that the other day, where someone was like, hey, Krown, fuck you. You're bullish on alt versus USD, but you're bearish on alt versus Bitcoin? What the fuck, man? It's like, hey, man, it's a different chart, actually. in case you didn't know, it's a completely different chart. It's not the same. Anyways, Fear and Greed Index stuck at a 70-ish read, which is rather interesting here, because we actually did see a little bit of a drop down from yesterday to today. As we go into the data tab, actually, before we go into the data tab, I do want to see what the top 10 best and top 10 worst are, but more importantly with that, rather interesting, as I guess the market isn't green enough for people to get more optimistic. Anyways, top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins. Who is sticking out like a sore thumb today? And I see more or less the same names, actually. The usual suspects, it looks like: Polygon, Chiliz, Near Protocol, Theta Fuel, both at all at the top once again. In this fucking Polygon thing, whatever the hell this thing is up 60%. Jesus, man. I remember Engine Coin and Zilliqa were on the top 10 yesterday as well, 16 and 26%, pretty much respectively. Pretty fucking impressive stuff right there. On the other side, we do see Nanos, not my poor sweet Nanos, and my NEM blockchains over there getting absolutely shreked and schlacked. So maybe a time to get the old soundboard reared up and ready to go for those babies. Anyways, into the market data tab we go. Let's check out what we got going on over here, and most importantly, as we have been looking for the last 2 to 3 weeks actually, would be this signature right here. Open interest making new all-time highs alongside price action, pretty much making new all-time highs as well, I'd say. Now, technically speaking, did we make new all-time highs on spot price action? Actually, it looks like we did, yes. Yeah, actually we did, by about $300 right there, it looks like. More importantly, CMEs did make a new all-time high as well, and that is what I would most likely focus on for the real price action. And with that in mind, still more or less good on the whole. But that is going to be juxtaposed against a short-term time frame analysis, especially coming into this weekend, which weekends are typically ripe for a little bit of counter-trend action, especially to kind of watch people out of their positions. Now, the typical thing that we do see over the weekends is whenever the week has a clear and obvious trend, or a clear and obvious, in this case, reaccumulation, what we typically see over the weekends is a counter trend move to that in order to kind of wash people out, and then trend resumes once again once the real trading week starts, when CMEs open up late on Sunday evening. Now, with that in mind, I would say that this is, pretty much a prime weekend for a bit of fuckery going on here. So with that in mind, keep that stashed away. Anyways, Fear and Greed Index, as you can see, is actually slowly trending down, which is rather interesting. Again, I guess Bitcoin isn't bullish enough for the bulls, not bearish enough for the bears as usual. It's like my own analysis. Never good enough for the bulls, never good enough for the bears. Yes, we're fucking traders here. We're not joining any goddamn gangs. And with that said, let's take a look at the funding rates down here, of which, yes. So you remember yesterday we did see several exchanges above the threshold, and we said, hey, hold on. This is, interesting, of course, but we want to see this perpetuated for at least, 48 hours to 72 hours this region. Otherwise, a lot of the time you get exactly what we're seeing right here with a quick spike up, then falling back down into range. And I don't look at this as anything more than a middle finger with Bybit straight at the middle finger. No, what I mean to say is that it's just not consequential as it is right now, especially heading into a weekend as well. Now, Bybit is way the fuck on out there, but that is just one exchange, and I don't look at that as any more relevant than the majority of exchanges, which are, well, I wouldn't say well below the 0.1% threshold, but certainly below it, as you can see. And the global funding rate over here is starting to trend up once again. So that is a little bit concerning, because the next pullback that Bitcoin does experience on a higher term time frame probably does, bring price action back down rather significantly to kind of play that out and reset that once again. So I would say that's a little bit of a counterpoint to the more immediate bullish case on Bitcoin. So as I peruse around, is there anything else that we want to be checking out? Yeah, so this is also a little bit concerning to me right here as well for the more immediate future, not for the long term, but for the more immediate future. We see that the futures price action, or sorry, the futures premium over spot price action is really increasing, similar to what we saw back on over here on the all-time high at about $58,000 thus far. So with that in mind, I do express a little bit of reservation with that in the more immediate term, but overall, price action first, and price action is pretty damn good. So be going over that, and that essentially just relates to the higher term time frame versus the lower term time frame analysis, which always have to be very, very deliberately clear with differentiating those two, because, well, you're gonna get attacked by all fucking sides no matter what you say on the good old interwebs over here. So hopefully for the people who happen to give a fuck, this is rather clear, and we'll get into actual price charts themselves soon enough. But first things first, Bitcoin dominance is putting in a nice base right here. I do think that it would be warranted to check out that chart today, because I am still looking at that as a major macro low, meaning that most altcoins not going to be having the best time versus Bitcoin, especially if Bitcoin gets going to the upside here. Okay, well, but also again, versus US dollar, probably gonna be fine, probably gonna be good. Whatever direction Bitcoin goes versus US dollar, altcoins very likely to follow. At least the weakest of the weak are gonna at the very least hold sideways, I'd imagine. Anyways, into the price action charts we go, and we'll start off with CMEs today, because this is the most important thing that can be happening the soonest, of which CMEs are gonna have a chance to close a weekly above the topside Toronto band. I would even say that weekly closing anywhere here or higher above, especially $56,000, is very likely, we'll say, yeah, we'll use that terminology, to make new all-time highs coming into next week, and probably start trending once again, as we do have a higher low in place. This would very much confirm it on a weekly. More importantly, momentum oscillators are headed north once again. We do see ADX DMI giving that fresh signal, with the ADX sprucing back up, getting that positive slope. Same thing on the DMI plus, being very much dominant, and the MACD increasing on the histogram once again. Now, all of this is just, shaping up for continuation right here. Again, want to see it close above $56,000 on CME, that is, on CME. And then that would be a very good setup coming into next week, I'd imagine. Now, of course, if we do go down to the lower term timeframes, I believe we did close a 2-day last night. Let's see how that one postured itself. And do we have new closing all-time highs? I believe we do on CMEs. Yes, we very much do have on CMEs. But what about on spot price action? I'm looking at this one right here, 57,542.5 versus 57,909.5. Yep, we do. And this looks overall good to me as far as the higher term timeframes go. So there's really nothing that's changed around here. I want to be very clear about that. Higher term timeframes still all more or less bullish, but higher term timeframes, they take some time to play out, obviously. So when we go into the minutia right now, we do see that the 2-day did get that bullish MACD cross that we spoke about, was likely yesterday, now fully confirmed. On top of that, we do see that the ADX DMI did have a fresh reset signal, plus a continuation, plus a continuation bullish signal right here with the DMI plus, of course, bouncing off the threshold, and the ADX also headed up as well. So that is very good. I'd even look for something like this too. It's not going to be super exact, but more of a regression around this trend line right here for the ADX kind of melt up to, and that is likely going to mark off the next sort of medium term, maybe even long term high. So with that in mind, I do like all of this. This does very well shape up for continuation coming into the next week or two to come. But in the short term, again, a little bit of a different potential story, but we'll overlay conditions for that soon enough. I still want to say that I'm on the record more or less bullish here. 3-day doing the same thing as well, and I don't believe that we close it tonight, or do we close it tonight? No, we do not close tonight. Closes tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but more or less this is fine. I mean, we can look at the top side Toronto band as a little bit of a basing area as well. Guess where that is? $62,000. Hey, isn't $62,000 an interesting area? Now I believe it is so, because that is directly lining up with our 3-spot extension right here, which is where I'd be looking for a little bit of a short-term pullback pullback if and when Bitcoin does break above our current upside resistance. Now, with that in mind, let's go back down to the daily and follow up on this as well. We have been documenting these signals for the last couple weeks here, and well, just following through with this, we do see that daily MACD having a little bit of hidden bullish divergence on the MACD histogram, also getting that bullish cross. That was obviously 4 or 5 days ago here, plus more importantly, breaking above the medium term time frame range. So all of those things need to be combined together with each other. You can't just have a bullish cross and just say, oh, good, up. No, fuck no. First, you want to see trend, then you want to see ranges, then you want to see momentum. And in this case right here, we're getting actually all three right now. So I would be looking at this as more or less good, especially as Bitcoin does test the top side of the range. So it does very much set it up for continuation, very likely coming in this next week, 2 new all-time highs if I had to guess, because we're already kind of like at the prior all-time high. You know, there's not really much play for this one to go. On top of that, yes, the same signal that we've been discussing between the 55 and the bottom side Bollinger Band right here, very much in action, as well as you do see them bifurcate from each other and get that nice divergence. That's the 55 really lifts up with a positive slope, and the Bollinger Bands going the other way. But what does that mean within the context of the Bollinger Bands? Well, that's a volatility-based indicator. So if it is starting to expand, well, guess what? Volatility is starting to expand. And what would happen when you are testing the top side of your range while that is a signature in place? Well, you would be expecting that leads up into a breakout, actually. So with all of that in mind, again, all higher term timeframes are bullish here. The higher term timeframe that we go, the better. In fact, here's your weekly. Of course, weekly is just the same thing as what we see on CME. And then, of course, following up on the monthly as well. I should denote, look at this. Remember the topside Bollinger Band signature that we were looking at coming into the earliest of this month. We said that we can test this one of two ways. Either Bitcoin comes all the way down to the $40,000 level, and like formally test it where it was right at the beginning when Bitcoin was trading at $45,000. Interesting. Or Bitcoin just gets so fucking green that it gets pulled up to our $45,000 low currently, which is looking a lot more fucking likely. In fact, with price action currently situated where it is, right below the prior all-time high, it is currently sitting at 43,500-ish region, and our current low of this month is $45,000. So you can imagine that around $59,000-$60,000 region, we will officially test that region. We will officially test that area, and that will once again satisfy that condition, which has been present and well documented for 100% of Bitcoin's history, going all the way back 11 years over here. It's been actually fucking perfect. So with that in mind, well, looks like we're gonna get the more bullish of that result. So very, very nice on that one. And when we look at momentum oscillators here, I'm not going to bring up the accumulation distribution indicator. Obviously, that's, nothing's changed there, but, it was given a major bullish bias coming into this month as well. So all is looking well and good on the higher term timeframes. However, when we go down to lower term timeframes over here, it does look like Bitcoin's getting a little bit tired here. Again, in line with a weekly closure coming in and the weekend looming right overhead. It should be denoted that we also have a bit of bearish divergence forming on the 4 hour right here. 1, 2, 3 stabs correlated with this high, and this potential high going in right now. So if that does play out, I'd be looking for another move back down somewhere around $55,000 or $56,000. But here's the thing: we can use the medium term time frame base area now as a major area for Bitcoin, and that would be this territory right here. I'm actually going to throw in a nice little blue box right there. This is going to be the blue box of peace and prosperity, but also death and destruction if Bitcoin does actually break to the downside. And in this case right here, I'd be looking for a 2 hour or 4 hour total closure below about 52,500 to denote that. If that does happen, I would look for a greater pullback on the short and medium term timeframes all the way down, below $50,000, probably somewhere between $48,000 to $49,000. But for right now, again, Bitcoin is technically bullish on all timeframes, but I am looking at the lower term timeframes right now as losing a little bit of momentum right now, especially with 4 hour oscillators getting really fucking tired up here. A lot of the time that you do see this first dip down below the critical zone, the next one to test critical zone does typically get rejected. Not always, but typically speaking, alongside potential bearish divergence signals going on right here. Now, technically speaking, these are not confirmed just yet. How would they be confirmed? Well, you need to confirm this as a local high. How would you confirm this as a local high? Needs to close below the 10 simple in this case. You can probably use a 2 hour for this one as well, of which, yes, you can use a 2 hour, which, by the way, already has that bearish divergence confirmed 1, 2, 3 drives coming off these last few highs right here, which would have a target back down somewhere around about $55,000. So if I did have to call it right now, yes, I do look for the lower term timeframes to probably play out a pullback, but that's very likely going to set up Bitcoin for a nice move, probably coming into next week. So this, I do think that this weekend, if we do see a pullback over the weekend, I'd very much be looking at that as a major opportunity. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, blah, 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 blah. But with the context of the higher term timeframes, I'm looking at any price action, especially above $52,500 as pretty fucking bullish coming into next week. That also means that if Bitcoin breaks below, it's not necessarily not necessarily like long-term bearish, but I would be looking for Bitcoin to drop back down into the accumulation zone between about 45 and 51,000 bucks as we work on this chart right here. And all I'm kind of marking off is this area right here. This is your accumulation zone as it is right now. Personally speaking, do I think that Bitcoin actually will drop back down below it? Probably not, no, but I wouldn't be surprised to see over the weekend like a quick wick down and then bounce off there, and then set it up for a nice Sunday or Monday continuation push. This is all coming off the backs of expanding historical volatility percentile. Don't let this last drop fool you right here. Moving average on this one does stay positive, so I am still looking at this as expansive. And in this case, when we do have trend and momentum to the upside, probably going to go in that direction as well. Anyways, should be denoted that following up on yesterday's short-term time frame analysis, we did see the hidden bullish evidence call play out. But, well, we did see it play out, so fair enough. There you go. Anyways, all lower-term time frame momentum oscillators are getting a little bit tired here, except for the 4-hour thus far, but I would imagine that's going to start to line up with the other ones. Here's our 4-hour, here's our 3-hour, here's our bi-hourly, and here's our hourly, all kind of pointed down or a little bit tired. So I do think that Bitcoin's a little bit more likely to play out a short-term pullback here. I think 55,000 to 55,500 is certainly not out of the question. Really doesn't do anything for even the medium-term time frames as we spoke about. Although that would be technically like a $1,500 move from where we're at right now. So with that said, short-term timeframes as of as similar to the last few days, I am looking for maybe a little bit of a pullback. I don't feel too gung ho about that, if you will, but the higher-term timeframes really taking over, and that is what I do feel a lot more confident on here, as it is pretty fucking clear, I do think. Anyways, moving into the medium-term timeframes, do we have anything to talk about right here? Yes, we do. 12-hour playing out a little bit of a backfill on the last 12-hour open. All the way down there. It looks like we did 56,250. We got down to pretty much. So fair enough. If it does come back down there, probably does not hold it once again. Anyways, 12-hour RSI again, more or less good on the whole. I mean, this is a very good read on the whole. But short term, would I be looking for it to come back down and test around the exponential? Very likely, yes. On top of that, we do see 12-hour Stokes potentially having a cross to the downside if we close here or lower by the end of this next 12 hours. So what is essentially saying, especially as HVP is going down, trending into the single digits, it's suggesting that if Bitcoin fails to get continuation, actually like today before this next daily closure, very likely we do play out a pullback over the weekend, and that again, that would only be short term, at least for myself. I'd be looking for major opportunities coming in next week. So it is essentially saying, hey, pressure is on right now. I would still give the nod to the Bitcoin boo laws on all time frames here, but if we do get failure to continue before end of day, then yes, I would be looking at I would be looking at a bit of a weekend pullback. On top of that, we should talk about upside targets here. Once again, I believe we already have it in from this area right here. Yes, indeed, we do have a nice fib extension coming in from our last accumulation zone right here. It lines up with all the other ones that we've been looking at as well. 1.272, getting our current highs. Nice, good. That should be happening naturally speaking. And then we got several levels up, of which the next major one, based off of this breakout right here, would be about $69,000 level. That also does line up with our measured move coming out of this base, of which, do I have it right here? I believe I do. Yes, indeed I do. That's coming out of this accumulation base right here. That measure move would be up towards, $69,000 actually, and that would be based in this extension based off of the prior accumulation phase between about 41,000 and 30,000 bucks right here, also lining up with all of those major targets. Obviously the 618 getting our current high thus far, the 3 spot right around that $62,000 target, which would be a little bit of a short-term, medium-term pullback, and then of course the full-on target back up to about 69,000 bucks. At which point I would be looking for potentially a greater high to be put in. Bitcoin puts in one of these more, prolonged sideways moves, and then we decide if this is party overtime or continuation. And for the most part, I'm not really looking for Bitcoin to end this rally anytime soon, based off the pi cycle top over here, of which let's bring this baby back on over. And okay, this is actually rather interesting. So if you recall, Caretaker actually made a reverse function for this, and not only did he make a reverse function for this, he also put a percentage on it that calculates the percentage that the top side reverse function is away from current price action, because we did make an analysis on this showing that anytime it gets below about 80% away, that being the reverse function from price action, that is typically the end of your rallies. 75% is like game over, red line every fucking time. 80%, we have seen, I think, one iteration where that did not work out. It actually did bounce off that, or at least prolonged itself a little bit more. And in this case right here, we got an 89.43. So you've actually been seeing it steadily decline over the last few days, which is natural as Bitcoin does actually, test upwards, upwards essentially, as that's getting, quite literally closer to that. Now, at the same time, it would actually start to bifurcate itself once again, meaning that you would see divergence between the two if Bitcoin could actually increase the momentum at which it actually is moving to the north side. But in that case, obviously first things first, we actually have to get the fucking breakout. So with that said, you can see that this is actually operating in real time. We even saw just a 0.2% move right there. Fair enough. But you can see that it is rather reactive. So if Bitcoin is a bit of a ticking time bomb, meaning that the slower that it does take to build up this rally, the more and more likely that the rally will start to find a natural top in an area that I think a lot of people are not really looking for. But for right now, still very, 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 very far away. I mean, to put it in perspective, the reverse function is literally above a little bit above $500,000 right here at about $530,000. So with that said, technically speaking, Bitcoin could rally up all the way there, and then we'd actually play it out. But I would even say that with that in mind, with that like 80% threshold, that still put Bitcoin somewhere in the low six digits, a little bit above $100,000 at about $110,000, give or take a few bucks right there. So if we did see that move, that would be a damn good indication that Bitcoin probably is going to top out somewhere around that region, at least for this next market cycle, and then we'll come back later. But for now, it's still not, it's still, I mean, we don't really have much to be working off of. Just the same sort of interpretation of it as before is very much applicable in saying that, well, looks like we don't really have any end in sight, at least for now, at least for today. And that's really all I've said about that. Anyways, going back to our regular charts over here, I do want to check out what we see on the higher term time frames, like the 2-day and 3-day. I want to see continuation here. Yes, indeed. We got 2-day Stokes still heading upwards and northwards, playing out the same trend line that we saw from all the way back in September of this year. I guess I have a regression there. It's probably more applicable to the 3-day. And what do you fucking know? It is for the 3-day. Of course, holding it in the bullish control zone and moving back up again. So I do like this, again, alongside RSI, which I look at the RSI in these trending moves, not the Stokes, because the Stokes are going to naturally tell you, this move is a little bit tired, this move is a little bit aggressive. And that is the way that it's supposed to work out. However, I would argue that there's just a different interpretation when markets are in blue sky breaks, especially in this case. I think that the RSI is just a little more obvious, as it does suggest that, hey, look, it's looking pretty fucking good here. Play out the hidden bullish evidence that we identified in both the 3-day, 2-day, and daily as we kind of peruse around these other higher term timeframes. And I would be looking for a stint back up to, at the very least, a critical zone. Still would have to deal with a little bit of bearish divergence there, but at the very least, that would imply more highs before a greater pullback. And that's essentially what I'm looking at right here. Again, I mean, this is in the most basic senses a nice trend, you might say. Anyways, let's go check out CME, see if there's anything different here. I do think that it is worth noting that we actually have already new all-time highs on CME as of last night. Pretty damn impressive move right there. Closing highs as well, so that is even better. And if we go down to the lower term time frames, like a 4-hour, we are working on that same sort of potential bearish divergence, but it would really only have a target back down to about 55,500-ish region. So again, if I am looking at the lower term time frames, it's kind of similar to yesterday. Could we have a short-term time frame pullback? Yeah, I mean, but would I be looking for that to very likely put in another higher low? Yes. I really don't have any reason to change my short-term time frame analysis as long as Bitcoin's about 52,500, and we could even use a short-term time frame area to kind of denote that between 52.5 and our current sort of higher low structure right around 54,000 $1,000. So as long as Bitcoin's above 54, don't really look at even the short-term timeframes as bearish. That means that it could play potentially all the way back down there. But Bitcoin's essentially bullish on all timeframes, and even the way that it's acting right now, it looks like it might even try for a move here before the end of day. I mean, even from like a from a different perspective, it was kind of peruse around all these different indicators, looking for areas of confluence. We can see that the volume profile filling out quite significantly here. Obviously, you have your accumulation down around here at about 47.5. Nice, not bad, but more importantly, we are kind of above all these, all these major nodes. Bitcoin did want to come back down and fill out this $54,000 area. Wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. Below there, a little bit of problems for at least the short-term timeframes. Anyways, with that in mind, when will Coinbase be listed on Cardano? I don't know. Probably never. I don't know. I think you might have that backwards, man. The Krown crypto cave anthem is out. Fuck yeah, man. Enjoy, Mr. Philson. I see you over there, brother. I see you over there. Okay, and then also let's check out traditional markets here too, and then we'll get in some comment action. And where is my traditional markets? Where are you all? Where are you fuckers? Yes, okay, first and foremost, Dow Jones, which has been leading the market. New all-time highs, closing on new all-time highs, and very likely to produce new all-time highs today, it looks like, as this one does have continuation implied on pretty much all time frames here. Again, we've been looking at this one as very likely to make new all-time highs. I think we have a few targets overhead still, and daily RSI tells the story right here. Very fucking good. Short term, if it wants to have a short term downside move to test the edge of the bullish control zone, completely fine. But ultimately, this one very likely makes new all-time highs coming into this next week, maybe even 2 weeks to come. Weekly is strong as fuck, even bouncing off the critical zone right here. This is actually a very strong read. This is what I'm talking about with the difference interpretation of momentum oscillators like Stokes in these trendy markets to new all-time highs. Same thing with weekly RSI, telling this story really, really well right here. This is a really fucking bullish signal, actually. Yes, you're going to say, Krown, we had bearish divergence right here. It's already played out. Plus, anytime that you see bearish divergence at this edge of the bullish control zone, it's very, very unlikely to play out for anything more than like a short-term move, of which we got. I mean, that was your short-term move right here. But as you know, it just leads into continuation. And on this one, I'd be looking for this one to really make a nice run here. I'm not bearish on any major markets right now, to put it bluntly. If we put on our drawing tools, we can see our next overhead targets are actually almost already being met. 32,800 was our target from yesterday. I'd say that we pretty much met that one. Coming into the next week or two of price action, though, I'd be looking for a move towards 33,800-ish region. So another nearly $1,000 above. Fucking crazy shit, man. But these stimulus checks, man, they keep on flowing, and the market likes to move off that, it seems like. So just let it move, man. Just print that fucking free money. How about that? Although there is some really good counterpoints to all of the money printing type bullshit narrative that people actually throw about. If you chart things in M1 versus M2, it's a completely different story, actually, which I can bring up a bit of a thingy for that with someone who can explain it much better than I can, because I am not a fucking macro or micro economist, even though I went to school for that. I think that that's more or less bullshit for the most part. I don't think anyone understands the economy. It's too fucking complicated, too many moving parts, too many variables, and to not notify that is to just be, I think, ignorant of the facts. Anyways, looking at SPY over here, same shit, making new all-time highs, I believe, which we said was likely. Yep, there's your 3960-ish tick, which we spoke about yesterday. I'll be looking for this one to make new all-time highs coming into next week. Hey, guess what? Do we have hidden bullish divergence? No, actually we don't. Actually, we don't. Very similar setup, though, as what we see on Dow Jones, and I'd be looking for Dow Jones to lead this one. And SPY, next sort of upside target is going to be just above $4,000 around the one spot 272 and one spot 414. I would not look for a reversal there, except for the short-term timeframes. I am basically bullish on, like I said, just about everything. This is very, 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 very likely to make new all-time highs coming in next week. Could we have a short-term pullback? Maybe yes, if we go down to the low-term time frame. But even then, no, I'm not even looking for it here. We actually are just getting fresh hidden bullish evidence coming off of this higher low, and momentum oscillators looking like they do want to have a nice little twist to the upside, especially playing out this nice little trend line from earlier within this month. So I'd be looking at this as likely your next higher low right here, actually, and probably does make another march on, especially with contracting HVP down here. It would align with this likely putting in a higher low. Of course, you want to see it, be proven. But first things first, looking good right now. Anyways, moving on to Nasdaq. Nasdaq, same thing, but not as strong. So it's not leading right now. But more importantly, we got that critical closure that we spoke about yesterday. So today, could we be looking for a bit of a pullback? I mean, this thing could pull back down to like 12.9-ish region. It really, I don't have a strong opinion on that. My strong opinion is on next week. Extremely likely to test back up to 13.3. I'm not bearish here, especially with the way that DJI and SPY are acting right now. Again, the weekly probably does put in a higher low right here. Will it have any divergences? Yes, it will. This would mark off hidden bullish divergence if this can confirm a higher low. And how would this confirm a higher low? Well, it could do it as early as today with closing above 13,150. I think that that's rather likely, and it looks like a complete bullish reset. I mean, there's nothing really bearish about this chart as it is. I'm trying to look for something obvious in the lower term timeframes. Yeah, lower term timeframes can have a bit of a pullback. I wouldn't mind another move back down to 12.9, but again, I'd be looking at that as an opportunity. This one's breaking the trend to the downside. I think that's quite obvious, to be honest with you. Anyways, is that all that we want to talk about? Yeah, actually, let's go check out Bitcoin dominance too. Let's see if this one's still putting in a nice little low, and let's get it on over here. Let's get it on, baby. Let's lock it down. Yeah, again, I'm looking at this as a nice little complex low. Very, 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 very likely to move to the upside into the middle of the 60% region over the next few weeks here. Of course, it's going to take some time, but momentum. Well, I don't really care about all sorts and something like this, but more importantly, trending and interest denoted by all these wicks to the downside. Very, 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 very likely we do see a nice reversal here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing make another run towards the upper 60% region, actually, which is going to put a lot of downside pressure on altcoin Bitcoin pairings, not altcoin USD pairings, before I get some fucking grief for that. Let me just check out what's going on over here. All right, good to go there, and I think it's time to get on some onto some comments here. Well, U of O is kind of meh. Yeah. Well, fair enough, Elizabeth. Yeah, you must be familiar. That was actually my alma mater. I went to University of Oregon. Didn't learn shit. Well, for the most part, there was two. When I think about it, there was 2 or 3 classes that actually I think meant something to me. Like I actually learned something from that was relatable. One was a statistics class. Statistics actually is fucking useful, believe it or not. It's actually probably one of the most useful things that I learned in school. And then also a philosophical class, and then a psychological class. Both of those 2 classes are things that I learned there are things that I like still think about to this day. Other than that, though, man, college. But I think that was more, or especially U of O. I mean, it's not like a fucking top tier college or anything like that. It's just it's probably middle of the ground, maybe a little bit above middle of the ground nowadays. But man, it's insane to me. It's insane to me that this can even go on, especially in today's day and age when we have everything on fucking line. I've learned way more outside of school than I ever learned inside of school, to be honest with you. And what I mean by that is essentially that, when I was in fucking school, I felt like I never really felt like I was actually going to school for school, only going to school to like basically make my parents happy, I'd say, and so that people wouldn't think I was a fucking loser, because apparently that's what I was told all throughout growing out. Like if you don't go to a college, you're going to be a loser for life. It's like I think I became more of a loser by going to college, if anything. That was just time wasted. I would have had a much better time just going straight down to the floor of the exchange before ever investing like 5 or 6 years into college, which is what I did. It's a fun 6 years, don't get me wrong, very social and everything, which is good. It's like your first time kind of being on your own, but for the most part, man, I probably could have saved a lot of money, seeing as tuition was about $20,000 or $30,000 a year. Anyway, Stylix Tears says, "Oh, Krown, my crown." Hello, Mr. Stylix Tears. I believe we're neighbors over there. Banned USD daily. Choose your exchange, sir. Got it. All right, let's see. Banned USD on. I guess Binance probably gonna be the one to go to for something like this. If I just had to guess, that's kind of your generic altcoin exchange. Long term, pretty damn good. I think that this chart does stand out in the plethora of shitty shitcoin charts, and this one obviously having a long term uptrend throughout the last couple of years that we have history for, and I would be looking for this one to very likely follow in Bitcoin's footsteps versus US dollar. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one back around $17, probably even the prior all-time high at about $19 over some time, but this one is a little bit weaker in comparison to Bitcoin, to be fair. However, it is certainly not weak in comparison to most other altcoins. So I would say in the altcoin sector, this one's going to be considered relatively strong. Compared to Bitcoin, though, it's still a little bit behind it, but looking good over a long period of time here. So I do think that it deserves some respect. And short term, would I be looking further upside? Yeah, I would actually. Short term, on a daily, I would be looking for further upside, which is what you asked for. On a 4 hour, I'm still fine here too. Playing out some hidden bullish divergence. Yeah, I'd more or less be looking for this one to just crawl its way upwards. If you see another short term move to the downside of like 1230-ish region, 12.5, I'd be looking at that as an opportunity, not as, I wouldn't be looking at that as a breakdown. Very likely Bitcoin leads to the upside here. And Bitcoin, I mean, it's going to try to put another high low right here. Can I even fucking speak? Sorry, stupid lispy, raspy lesbian voice getting in my way once again. Apologies for that. Very embarrassing, but whatever. Anyways, looking at this right here, it looks like it even wants to try for another continuation push right now. All right, let's see. Mr. Rami, what's up, Mr. Rami? Fun fact: I haven't missed a single video of yours for 2 years now. Neither have I. Thanks for everything that you do. And man, my pleasure. Your educational approach helped me become a profitable trader after blowing up my account twice. Fuck yeah, man. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Holy shit. That's something that, again, I never consider myself like an educational type of person. Look, the way that I think about doing these streams, the way that I think about doing these videos is that I'm just sharing what I'm looking at, for better or worse, because not only does it help me, but apparently, well, can seem a little bit valuable to you as well, which is good. I'm very happy to hear that, man. But at the end of the day, man, give yourself some goddamn credit, because, becoming a profitable trader is, I'm never going to tell anyone that it's fucking easy. Can you do it? Yes. Can anyone do it? Maybe yes. But if you can do it, that's something that you're doing on your own, man, and it's not fucking easy to do. So congratulations, man. That's fucking awesome. Seriously. Bruley, thanks for that, man. Feel free to have a message though. All good, man. All good. JR says BNB USD daily weekly price target. Oh god damn it, we're going into fucking target terminology. Please do not use that terminology. It just makes me absolutely fucking very mad for whatever reason. It's good here though, man. It's bullish. Again, one of the best charts in in cryptocurrency land. Now, do I trust something that literally kind of pumps out of nowhere like this and looks really fucking sketch and is on some random Chinese exchange? Well, not a random Chinese exchange, but the Chinese exchange. I mean, it's good. It's very likely to find its prior all-time high and very likely to make new all-time highs here. You have a clear flagging out formation, and we can make a nice little measure move off this reaccumulation, which is going to be pointed up north towards about north of $400 towards fucking hell, man. $430. Fuck my asshole. Seriously. Let's take a more conservative estimate on this one. $400. Yeah. I'd be looking for $400 in line with Bitcoin, very likely making new all-time highs. Maybe not over the weekend, but probably coming into next week, I'd imagine. So pretty damn good there. All right, let's see what else we got here. What else we got? Fox and Hound says, hey, Krown, can you take a look at SWBI Nasdaq Weekly? Got it. Thanks, Sugar Lips. I feel weird. Smith and Wesson. Okay, so what is this? Gun manufacturer, I believe it is. He said Nasdaq Weekly. Okay, looking good here. Nice little higher low. Hidden bullish divergence coming off the low. Momentum also is turning up. Good. I'd be looking for a retest of this high on the run, about 2130-ish region, and very likely makes new highs on this run as well. I mean, this is pretty good long term. To be fair, you can see this. We have a clear higher low structure going all the way back to October 2008, by the way, and this is actually marking off when long form reaccumulation. Now, do I think it's ready to rock and roll just yet? I wouldn't say that just yet because we do have a lot of space to fill out here. So it could be that it does retest the prior highs, rejects, comes back down into range, plays out some nice downside, and then sets it up for a breakout maybe in the next year, few years to come. Actually, this is a weekly after all, and your apex is coming in at about 2026 or really far out there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this one actually try a breakout maybe in 2023 or 2024. But for now, short term and medium term upsides very likely. And I'd be looking for major markets to kind of lead into that one. So if you see Nasdaq start to really, or sorry, maybe not Nasdaq, but in this case, will this one fall over? Maybe SPX, just the general broad market. I'd be looking for this one to probably fall through as well. So generally good, but I would want to see a weekly closure above these prior all-time highs before I start looking for like major, massive new all-time highs, which at this price point would probably be implying a move towards about $40, but that would be over time. And when we're looking at a weekly right now, I'd feel a lot more confident just talking about the short term here. Actually, Stalex here says, one more, my friend. All good, man. SNX USD daily. Okay, already. Thanks, brother. Valhalla. I'm in for some Valhalla action, man. SNX USD. Okay, USD daily. I guess Binance is the one to go to for this one. And again, another decent chart for the history that we actually have on this one. Short term, a little bit of short term downside here. I'd probably be looking for another run at the 55, but just in line with what we see across these, across these marks right here, I'd be looking for that to very likely provide another opportunity anywhere around here at around $18, give or take a half buck. I'd say we do see daily oscillators turning back down. We do see daily RSI giving a little bit of hidden bearish evidence, 1, 2, 3 stabs. So yeah, short term I would be a little bit of downside angled. If this one plays on a pullback to like $18 over the weekend, I'd look for an opportunity there. This one does very likely join the rest of the market, especially seeing as Bitcoin is kind of rearing its head and looking like it does want to go for a bit of a run coming into next week. So short term, maybe a little bit of downside, but ultimately I'd be looking for opportunities there, and very likely this one does try another move to the upside in line with whatever Bitcoin tries to do coming into next week. All right, what else we got? Hold on, just missed that one right there. Umet Inse says, hello, please. Could you please do a prediction on .USD? Oh, Jesus Christ. We got some predictions, sir. We got some motherfucking predictions, but I'm not so familiar with this one versus USD at least. Actually, I am, because I already have this one charted out. What the fuck? What the fuck's going on over here? I have it in some sort of an ascending triangle. Yeah, it looks pretty fucking good, to be honest with you. Again, not too much history on this one, only back to August 2020, so not perfect, but, typically want to have more, but I still look at this as a reaccumulation right here. We have all of the things that you want to see on an oscillator: hidden bullish divergence, daily Stokes up, and technically speaking, would I be looking for a breakout over the next couple days? Very likely yes, maybe around Sunday or something, and that would have a measure move up to about $48, but I want to see a daily closure above the range high, 39.5, or just take out the prior high on this range, which is like 42.5 region, and then yeah, I'd be looking for that next leg up. Very likely does take it. I mean, again, the market is more or less looking for more upside here. Anyways, looking at the comments once again, Jarek Piotrowski says, fun fact, Scale USDT melting faces. Thank you. All right. Is that a request to look at it? I guess so. Scale, that sounds like fucking kale, and I absolutely hate that dumb shit. Dumb shit. Scale, I don't. Okay. So here we go. We got Huobi, HitBTC, and Uniswap. All right. So that's concerning, but we can look at it versus Tether, I suppose, on Huobi. Jesus Christ, man. HitBTC or Huobi. I mean, both just god awful exchanges. But we'll look at this one right right here. Moon mode, man. Fucking moon mode, I guess. But again, we really don't have much history on this. This is akin to what we've seen in 2017 for the new crop of altcoins. I think that this is really fucking concerning right here. This is an hourly, by the way. Doesn't even fucking trade, basically. Barely even fucking trades. Maybe it has better history on some other exchange, but I would say that, this one's going to follow the rest of the market. Is it likely to make new all-time highs? Yes, it is very likely to make new all-time highs, but we just don't have much history on this one, so I feel a little bit disingenuous giving an actual opinion on this because I don't think that technical analysis works on something that is this young, so I do want to be open and honest about that. But, is it melting faces? Yeah, it's fucking melting faces. I mean, this one went from like 16 cents, 18 cents all the way up to $1 and almost a quarter. I mean, that's quite the move right there, about 520%. In fact, not bad, man, not bad at all. So it sounds like you're having a nice little Friday. M. Aurora says, good day, sir. Badger USD. FTX, please. Sure, man. All right, we got Badger right here. USD. And he said FTX specifically. All right, we'll go to that one. Down. Okay, so this is actually really, really interesting to look at right here. Okay, this is great, actually. All right, so those last few charts that we've seen for altcoins that look like they've been born a lot more sooner than most things, alongside this thing, which has only been around for a couple months here, or maybe a month. Jesus Christ, man. All right, hold off on the fucking comments for a section. Jesus. This one, obviously, a lot more shitty. I do not like this chart, especially in the context of all of the good charts that we have seen thus far. This is not a good sign. Now, does it join the rest of the market if the rest of the market gets going? Very likely, yes. But is it going to be relatively strong in comparison? Fuck no. This is garbage right here for the information that we have, to be fair. But it does deserve a few of these, baby, because this one is just in a fucking downtrend here. It has never known what an uptrend is ever since it has been available. But let's do a little bit more of a look into this. Maybe Binance has more history on this one, and yeah, it does, and it's even fucking shittier. Take them away, you shitcoin police. Absolute fucking garbage. Again, this is not good here. This is not good when everything else is rallying. This thing will rally very likely with the rest of the market just because it's allowed to, but this is not good in the context of relativity to the rest of the market. I'd say this one, I mean, it hasn't even found an uptrend on any time frame that even matters like a little bit thus far. So I'd say very, 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 very lackluster there. Abbott Dynamics Design and Manufacturing LLC says, God damn it, Krown, I never get you at the beginning. Thanks for everything. All good, brother. All good. And I try to start these at around 7 a.m. my time, a little bit after usually. So if you're in the Eastern European time zone, you got to wake up early with me, man. You got to wake up early, baby. Because, that's apparently the old saying, the early bird gets a worm. I don't know what the fuck that means. Sounds like a homosexual reference, but I can assure you that worms have been hads. No, I'm just kidding. It's my girlfriend calls my pee-pee, actually. So there you go. Anyways, the Saturn Epoch says Rose USDT, daily and 4 hour. All right, Rose USD. Wait, what the fuck is this? All right, there we go. I guess Binance is going to be the one to go for this. And again, here we go. So this chart, very much different from the one that we just looked at. This one clear, just straight to the upside. Very fucking good. Blue sky breakout. Very likely to make new all-time highs. You even have a bit of a reaccumulation right here as well. You could call this cup and handle, I suppose. I suppose that we could make a measure move on this one. It's going to be somewhere around here, and that would be at around a quarter, it looks like. Nice little round even number as well. Psychological resistance. Short term up, medium term up. I'd be looking for a move towards a quarter over the next week or two. Looks pretty damn good. You'll set on a 4 hour. 4 hour is looking like continuation. I mean, it's good on all time frames, basically. 4 hour RSI, not even remotely showing any signs of disintegrating there. In fact, if anything, just on the other side, hidden bullish divergence back in the bullish control zone. I'm always going to like that read, actually. Dan, hey, thanks for that, Dan. But again, feel free to have a message, man. It's all good. It's all good, brother. Let's see. Andrew Mo says, can you please look at BDP token, Big Data Protocol? All right. BDP. I guess do you want to look at it? What base pair, sir? I only got two right here. We got HitBTC and Uniswap. I'd maybe go as far as saying that maybe Uniswap is probably better than HitBTC, but we can check out HitBTC, I suppose. Let's see how much history this thing has. And go fuck yourself. And 5 of these. And take them away, you shitcoin, please. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Hey, bad. Really fucking bad. Look, there are plenty of good charts in cryptocurrency land right now. This one's only been around for, a month and a half here. And all it knows how to do is go fucking down. Absolute garbage, man. Absolute fucking garbage. Again, is it going to rally with the rest of the market if Bitcoin gets going here? It probably does get some upside moves, but look, there's absolutely no reason in my mind to be involved with shit like this when you got shit like we saw earlier, which is of the same sort of category where it hasn't really been around for all that much and actually has a fucking uptrend. This is relatively weak. Again, will it rally if Bitcoin rallies here and makes new all-time highs? Very likely, yes. Probably going to rally back up to like, I don't know, 0.0014. It's cheap, right? But it's cheap for a reason because it's probably garbage. Sorry. Probably not what you want to hear. Let's go look at it on Uniswap. You know, maybe you like that. People get really fucking mad when you talk shit about their shitcoins. Holy fuck, it's even worse here. All right, so we'll just pretend that one didn't happen. And you know what, sir? It's good, man. It's really fucking good if you hate money or if you can short it. So probably wouldn't want to short anything in this market though. Buzz me, sir, says Pilson. I think we had enough buzzes on that last shitcoin right there. That was fucking god awful. Hey, thanks for that. Holy shit, Josh. That's very generous, man. Thank you. Okay, Raven, Vet, VTHO, higher term timeframes, USD. All right, Jesus Christ, when live stream gaming sessions? I've actually been doing live stream gaming sessions every day on my Twitch, but I don't really advertise it here because I feel like, if I advertise it here, then people are going to come in thinking it's like a Bitcoin stream. And while, we can talk about trading a little bit, I really don't want that to be the focus. And to be honest with you, it kind of pisses me off when people do that too. But, you have to also understand that they're just asking their questions, and that's fair enough. Anyways, that's probably my own problem anyways. Raven, good, at least for the history that we have. But I know that this one definitely, back to September 2019. No, it definitely has more history than this, but maybe not versus USD. If it is going to have that history, it's going to be on Bittrex. And yes, very fucking good. Again, juxtapose this chart with the bullshit that we just looked at. This one making new all-time highs and looking like a reaccumulation. Again, higher lows along the way. Nice little ascending triangle right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one retest the prior all-time high at about a quarter. Probably make new all-time highs on top of that alongside Bitcoin continuation. You're also looking at VET. Oh, Jesus Christ. This fucking garbage. But I happen to know that this one actually is looking pretty damn good right now, especially versus US dollar, and pretty fucking good. I mean, this one's very likely to make new all-time highs. Remember this one from 2018 just going straight down, which was really, really, really fun to kind of pick on at that time. But at this point, can't really pick on it anymore, especially after taking out this area right here. Now, the Bitcoin Satoshi pairing might be a different story because I remember that chart, or I remember something bad about this, or was it Walden Chain? I look at these things as the fucking same pretty much. But this one, very, very likely to make new all-time high. It's in a blue sky breakout right now, man. It's good. It's really fucking good. No real reason to fade this breakout right here. I'd be looking for this one to make another leg up towards, let's see, probably oh wait, no, it's already played out that move. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one go for the psychological level. So here's like just a regular sort of just general market knowledge. Okay, and I don't know why the fuck this works, but this is one of the things that my mentor taught me when I was learning how to trade in a professional sense. And how do I explain this? Okay, so there's just like weird things that happen in trading. Typically speaking, when you see a stock, for example, get to like $90, it almost, for the first time, this is for the first time, it only works on the first time. Almost fucking always, you'll see a run to about 100 after that. Same thing at 90 cents. Typically when you see a run to 90 cents, almost always, if it's the first time that it actually hits that, it's going to run to $1. Is this one going to probably run to $1 after hitting that area? Probably yes. Although now that I look at it, sorry, we're nowhere near 90 cents right now. We're actually at 70 cents. But again, with the rest of the market, man, it's looking fucking good here. We can probably plot out an inverted fib retracement. No, basically a fib extension is what I'm trying to say. And what would that suggest? We got the 764 all the way up above 82 cents region. So I'd be looking for this one to just continue its uptrend, man. There's no real reason to fade this, especially in this market condition. It looks good. And then you said VTHO. Okay, VTHO. I've never heard of this one before, so I'll just go with this. Again, another nice chart right here. Accumulation at a high level. I'll be looking for a retest of prior all-time highs and very likely make new all-time highs. Wouldn't be surprised to see this one at about maybe even 1 cent over the next month or two. It looks pretty fucking good, man. You've actually picked out 3 of the better looking charts for the altcoin sector today, which is pretty awesome, man. And one of the values for myself in doing these live streams is actually like seeing the greater market, and that was actually very insightful for me. So thank you, man. Appreciate that. Cardano USD daily. Okay. I guess we'll go to Kraken. No, maybe not. We'll go to Binance on this one. Okay, so it looks like we did hit our topside target at about 132 region. Don't know when the fuck that was coming in from, but getting rejected as it is right now. Again, in a, basically at new all-time highs right here, but is the short-term sideways and a little bit of down? Yeah, I probably would be looking for a little bit of sideways and down here. I know that you said daily and weekly, but I would be looking for a short-term move, maybe back down to like $1 base. I think that's actually what we looked at last time too. Long-term, does it get picked up there? Very likely, yes. I don't have any real reason to look for anything to put in a major reversal just yet. Do we see any sort of divergences, any sort of issues? Yeah, there is going to be issues here on weekly RSI, yes, but I'd give it another try to the upside first before playing out that next very likely downside move. You also see HVP over here is like very much redlined. You usually see your highs being put in, and you usually see your lows being put in, but sometimes your highs also, which it looks like right here, this is a very fucking volatile move, put in when it gets, all the way to the red zone there, especially above 99 percentile, because it doesn't really have anywhere to go after that. So looking at this right here, a little bit of sideways in the short term. I would be looking for this one to give another try back up to like 130, 135-ish region. However, Booley Brobot says, are you planning to continue your analysis after the Bitcoin cycle top and into the bear cycle? Ditto at Rami. Many thanks. You should have taken my courses at UO. You're a professor there. Oh, that's pretty cool. I wonder what you taught. That's actually pretty damn cool. Are you still rocking and rolling over there too? How's Eugene doing right now? I imagine it's a very interesting place in these times. So basically your question is, do you plan to keep on doing these analyses into the bear market? I mean, I started this channel in 2018, the bear market, and that's actually my favorite time to be doing these sorts of things. Not because I like revel in the tears of broken boo laws, but because for myself as a trader, trading a down market is the best for myself because, well, that's when you actually have to use your fucking skills. Right now, when things are just straight up moon mode, I mean, you don't need to be a fucking professional trader to make money in this market. Like, there are blind bulls. There are fucking morons right now who are making way more money than me because they just buy every goddamn thing and keep on marking it up. Whereas I'm gonna be like, all right, well, I want to see an entry here alongside, a major area, and I want to have like everything set out so that it's it's statistically relevant. But that's just not gonna that's not gonna get you the most money in a bullish market. Problem is, at some point the market will turn around, and I mean, not even turn around, but even just go into a sideways market, and I have to be able to trade that. And that's where actually knowing the skill of trading does come in handy. Right now, everyone's pretty much making money as long as you're just within the market. You don't really have to be doing all that much. You don't need fucking years of experience. You don't need pretty much anything. You just need to know how to press the fucking green button, pretty much. But those are paper profits, and they typically remain paper profits in my experience, as many people know from 2017 way the fuck back on over here. A lot of people became millionaires over here. In fact, I know a lot of paper millionaires that were in this community back when over here. And then unfortunately, 2018 happens, 2019 happens as well, and you got to be able to trade this in order to keep that and stay alive. And that's where I actually really do enjoy the game of trading, because it is, once again, like, it's challenging. Right now it's just, well, oh, it looks fucking bullish. Maybe some more green dildos down my throat today. That sounds great. I mean, it is nice. Like, don't get me wrong, the game's already hard enough. You don't need to make it any more harder than it already is. But for myself, it's that is it essentially. Anyways, I'll move on here because I'm just talking in circles right now. Let's see, what else do we got? Okay, Cole Evans. Hey, what's up, Cole? Cardano 1 to 4 hour. God damn it, man. We just looked at this bullshit. All right, we'll look at it again. All right, Cardano 1 to 4 hours. So you're looking like very low term time frames. Low term time frames actually I'd be looking for a little bit of sideways, maybe a little bit of downside, but opportunities are right around the 200 simple, right around that $1 base. I'd be looking for $1 to actually be tested as a base, or at least treated as a base for a little bit of time. That also means that if this does break below $1, we will see a greater retracement, probably back down to about 3/4, so 75 cents region. But for now, I don't really have any real reason to be bearish on like anything for like a long-term move. That is short-term, short-term, medium-term. Yeah, we can play. It's a little bit of downside, but this one even looks like it's getting reaccumulated around the 21 on the daily, which I know you didn't ask for. Short-term timeframes can have another quick wick down. I mean, these things are rather liquid, so it wouldn't take too much. But again, I'd be looking at that as a nice base area for the most part. All right, moving on. What else we got, baby? What else do we got? Style Tears. Sal says, I can't say that name. One more. Aave USD. Okay, I've been hearing a lot about this one. I believe this is a DeFi coin, like one of the more prominent DeFi coins. So I'm actually very interested to see this one because I don't really, peruse around these myself all that much. And what do you know? Just straight to the fucking moon. Again, juxtapose this chart with some of the straight down charts that we have seen for the same time period. That's my whole point with like that's really the skill in this particular market right now is just identifying which ones are the relatively strong, because the old saying goes, the strong get stronger and the weak get weaker, and that is extremely fucking true in these sort of just straight up vertical markets. A lot of people get caught into this like weird fucking rut. I don't know if it's like past past transgressions or whatever the fuck it is, but people will think like, oh my God, I held this coin all the way down from 2017, it's down like 99%, and it's going to go all the way back to the prior all-time high. It's like, probably not actually, probably never does. But when you see something like this is a completely different story. Anyways, I'll actually analyze it now. So daily, again, if it wants to have a short-term downside move to the 55, that would be a major opportunity. 350. I don't even know if you get that at this point because this market is, pretty fucking good right here. That would also be a bet. I mean, that would be a fucking obvious trade, to be honest with you. Let's see. I don't know. What are also saying? You know what? Actually, I would be looking for a daily downside here. Actually, would be looking for daily downside, 350-ish region, but I would be looking for a bounce around there as well. That is very likely an area of opportunity. If you see it start to put another higher low right there, that's gonna be a damn good indication that you will retest the prior all-time highs at about 530 bucks and probably make new all-time highs after that, as this is essentially some variation of a reaccumulation formation. Short-term, medium-term though, I probably would be looking for a little bit of downside. It looks a little bit more likely right there. Then I gotta go to the 4 hour, maybe not as much, but overall, it seems like you're more or less focused on the higher term timeframes. I'd be looking for a retest per all-time high and very likely make new all-time highs. I mean, 600 bucks again is certainly not out of the question long term, but that is again more long term, probably for the next couple months if that is. And again, more or less a function of what Bitcoin does here. What's up, Joe Blow? That was scary, Krown. Sorry, man. Apologies. M. Aurora says Theta USD. Okay, I think I actually have that one maybe on my list, but I believe it's versus Bitcoin. So we'll go look at it versus USD. And this is another one of those ones that keeps on coming up on my list as one of the more strong ones. So let's see. It's on BitCoke Exchange. Oh, that's a great name. That's a really great name. Okay, we have breakout volume right here. We have continuation. We have new all-time highs. I'm never going to hit a chart like this. Again, one of the better charts for the history that we do have. Clear accumulation at the 2018 to 2020 levels right here. It's just been straight up ever since. It's probably one of the best charts in cryptocurrency land, alongside maybe Link and a few other ones that we've actually seen today. But I'd be bullish on all time frames here, essentially. And you are looking. So you're also saying a great review on KSM yesterday. Was able to profit from that. Well, I'm glad that worked out for you. Although this is not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor. So whatever you do, man, that's your own doing. The only thing that's a little bit concerning here is that it really wouldn't take too much to get a short-term time frame pullback, and because the ranges are rather aggressive, that would imply a move back down to like 550-ish region. But overall, if Bitcoin continues up here, this thing's going to very likely continue up as well. I don't have any targets to the upside to give on this one, just because this one's just in a blue sky breakout. There's no real targeted regions to have, at least for the time being. Playing out some hidden bullish divergence here, probably has a little bit more to go. I do think that this run is getting a little bit frothy, but I'd be looking for daily bearish divergence to really mark off the next high. And do we have anything resembling that right now? Potentially, actually, between this point and this point, but this is not confirmed as a local high just yet. Wouldn't even be consideration as long as it's above like $5.5. So, make that $6. So for the time being, I guess I suppose I favor the upside. Increasing volume on the breakout. Yeah, kind of have to be looking for new highs here, I suppose. Again, whatever Bitcoin does, this one's very likely to mirror. Umed Int says, hello again. Hello, sir. Another shiz coin for you. Reef USD. All right, so we got some weed on the blockchain on Binance. What is this? Yeah, good. Again, within the context of a lot of shitcoins, this one does deserve a little bit more respect. It's certainly not like the strongest of the strong, as we've seen especially with the last couple charts that we just looked at. This action right here is just your ICO dump, kind of reaccumulating around that region is generally a good sign. You do have higher lows along this as well. Momentum also is looking like they do want to twist back up into the bullish control zone. I'd very likely be looking for a retest of the high on this run, just around 5 cents, and very likely does make new highs upon that. But first things first, I'll be looking for that move there, probably coming into next week. It does look more or less good here, to be fair. Very likely to try another move to the upside. Very likely to even take out the prior highs on this rally as well. Generally speaking, it's good. Sam Dumu says, glad you're going live daily again. Yeah, man, it's actually been really, really fun. Can you check out Telcoin versus USD? Telcoin. Okay, what the fuck could this thing be? I just wanted, oh god, HitBTC and KuCoin. KuCoin's got to be like the dregs of the dregs. Pretty fucking good very fucking good here. Very fucking good. Never going to be bearish on something that's in a blue sky breakout. Do we see any sort of divergences on a daily? It's going to make some at some point, yes, but this is continuation volume right here. I'll be looking for new all-time highs first. Again, I don't have targets on this one just because it's in uncharted territory here. Best I can do is maybe something like this, which let's see if this actually populates anything. Okay, it actually does. Okay, we are at the 618 right now. What is that, like just below 1 cent? Can we dial this in a little bit more? Well, I need to zoom in a bit here. Okay, take that up a bit. What are going to be the next areas of interest to the upside? About one spot, 1 cent right there is what I'd be looking towards. So yeah, again, I don't really have like anything too amazing to say. I mean, it's a good chart, to be fair. It is a good chart, no doubt. I'd just be looking for general continuation here, past about a cent to 1.1 cent, 1.2 cent is kind of where we'd be looking towards. Let me just double check over here. Let's see what's going on. We got things to do after this stream apparently. All right, let's get this right there. Okay, let's zoom on down here. JR says, Krown, you have the patience of a saint for us newbies. I mean, we're all there at some point, man. It's also good for me too, to kind of like brush up on, because, you know, for myself, like the further and further that I get away from when I first started, the more and more that I kind of lose the relatability to like those more foundational concepts. So it's actually really good for me to start to re-explain those too, because it causes me to have a deeper understanding. So it's actually a good thing. Off topic, any psychological tips to get to the gym more consistently and get jacked like you? Well, following up on the last psychological video, I'll actually give you an answer here. Look, I'm going to come off as an asshole in this answer, but understand that I'm saying this because this is what I believe to be true. Look, man, if you're asking me that question, you already know the fucking answer. Look, do you need a psychological tip to go to the gym? Yeah, no, you don't. Just fucking go, man. Look, this is that quantum moment in life that you can have, that you can make these decisions at any fucking point and have what you want, what you desire, but you actually have to fucking want it, right? So you know the answer. You just fucking go, man. You just fucking go. That's all that it is. That's the difference between someone who is, you know, in shape or whatever shape that you want versus perhaps yourself. If you're not doing that, you just fucking go. You know what you're supposed to do. You know a general idea of what you're supposed to do. If you want specifics, yeah, there's people to go through for that. I'm definitely not the best person for that. You know, I know a few things because I've spent a lot of time studying it, especially in my earlier 20s. But at the end of the day, man, it's just like managing your risk. You know, I can give you all the fucking tools and tips to deal with that, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to actually just fucking do it. There's a point in it. There's a point where there's a difference in action and thoughts, right? Right now you're at the thought stage. You're like, I think I want to do this. I feel like I want to do this, you know, but at some point there needs to be a step over the bridge from thought to action. And that's where you just do it. There's no sort of English language that is going to that is going to describe that better than just literally doing the fucking action. It's like the same thing as if I said, hey, JR, can you teach me how to drop this pen in my hand? And you'd say, Krown, are you fucking stupid? And I'd say, yeah, but you got to teach me. And you say, okay, look, well, first you got to prepare mentally, and then you make a plan, and then you write it out, and then you do. It's like, yeah, you can do that, and that might help a little bit, but at the end of the day, how do you fucking drop the pen in the hand? You have to take the action. You have to do it. It's past the process of thought. It's into the process of action. You just fucking do it. There's no words that can explain that. You actually have to do something at that point. So there you go, man. Apologies for the dickhead answer, but it is true. All right, let's see. Christian Bjordalen, you must be Nordic, certainly. Thoughts on FTM? Let's see. You didn't give a base pairing for it, so I'm just going to go with probably Tether on Binance. We've got Phantom. I remember this one was popping up at the top of the list a lot more recently. Looks like a local high in place to me. Lots of long wicks at the top side. I imagine that this one is going to enter into a little bit of a downside consolidation. It is going to try to hold on to the 21 for right now. It's very likely to try another rally off this region. I would express a little bit concerns with the greater rally. Probably does trade alongside Bitcoin, to be fair, but for now, what I would say is I'd still respect it for right now, but there's a very fucking obvious area right here, very fucking obvious area, and we do have declining highs for the time being in something resembling what would be a descending triangle, to be fair. And if you do see a breakage below the 21 exponential average, which is about 42 cents even, I would be looking for a big move to the downside, somewhere around about 29 and a half cents. For the time being, though, I would still give it respect, just because technically speaking, it is not reversed just yet, but this is kind of like the last chance for love for the daily here. So I would be looking at that as a major decision maker. And, you know, based off the wicks that we see the upside here, plus the volume climax, I'm a little bit more inclined to say that this one's probably headed to the downside. Then again, you look at the general market, it's kind of hard to be bearish on this when Bitcoin's very likely to be bullish coming into next week. So that's what I have to say about that, man. So probably not too helpful there, to be honest, but basically, I'd be looking at this as a decision maker, and yeah, you do have those declining highs, which is not good. Josh says Bitcoin daily, weekly, setting up a sell on the jewel. I don't think that the Bitcoin dominance chart works for oscillators, to be honest with you. I don't care about anything except for trend on this chart. But if we were looking at the daily jewel, the weekly? The weekly jewel, no, it's nowhere near. I mean, is it going to be setting up? I mean, you're really fucking visualizing way into the future there, man. I would not say that. I mean, this could take literally months to even set up anyways. These signals take a long fucking time. Now, to be fair, the last buy signal on this one was way the fuck back on over here in August 2017, and that actually did get the lows. So, could it work out? Yeah, it could work out. But, to answer your question, is there even a sell signal in progress here? Not even close, actually. Not even close. And realistically, you don't want to see the sell signals even coming down towards this region right here. You want to see them way the fuck back on over here. That's where the good ones come in. Just like the good buy signals are way the fuck down here, not way the fuck back on over here. So I'd have to humbly disagree with that. And say that's a really, 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 really bad way to be using the jewel. But more importantly, with Bitcoin dominance, I just don't think it's applicable there. I don't think anything is applicable there. Trend is your friend on that chart. And I'd even argue that the Bitcoin dominance chart is becoming less and less relevant at the start anyways, just because Jesus Christ, man, this is going fucking crazy right now. Okay, I think my alert system is broken, actually. Thanks for that, Ricky Bobby. N Godly says, does Bitcoin hit 59,000 within the next 24 hours, or do we get a short-term pullback? I'd probably be more on the line of a short-term pullback, but that's not something that I think can even really be done as far as analysis goes. It's like it's like put a fucking timer on it. No, what I feel a lot more confident in saying is that Bitcoin's bullish on all time frames as long as it's above about $54,000. If you lose $54,000, it does lose its short-term bullishness here, yes, but all the time frames still good. All higher-term time frames do suggest continuation coming into next week. Within the next 24 hours, that's irrelevant to me. You're talking about a fucking weekend. I don't care, or it's not that I don't care about the weekend. The weekend price action is notoriously shaky, and what I'd really be a lot more relevant to say would be coming in next week. Yeah, I am looking for new all-time highs. $59,000 means absolutely fucking nothing to me. I don't know where you're pulling that number out of your bunghole there, but I would be looking actually further north towards $62,000 if and when Bitcoin does get going before the next sort of short-term, medium-term pullback. So to answer your question, I don't feel comfortable saying something like that, because I don't think that it can actually be done. I'd feel a lot more confident on the higher-term timeframes here, especially. So that's what I'd say about that. All right, what else we got, man? What do we got here? All right, Jesus Christ, man, what the fuck is going on right now? Okay, Tristan Toff is going crazy right now. All right, calm down, man, calm down. It's gonna go away. It's gonna go away. Let's see. All right, what else did I miss? Okay, I think we got it right there. Theknistar says, Cure USD, Bittrex weekly. All right, Cure USD. Let's see, Cure USD. Let's see what this one's got going on. Bittrex on the weekly. Okay, old coin. Yeah, it must be old if it's on Bittrex. Again, certainly not the best chart that we've seen today. Now, is it likely to get a markup here? Yeah, it is very likely to get a markup here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a short-term move back up to the 200 simple here at 14.5 cents. Very likely does break to the upside. I mean, this one's going to follow the rest of the market. We do have long-term higher lows, to be fair, in this structure. So, it doesn't move up to the, doesn't move up to like a quarter over the next month or two. Very likely, yes. But this one would not be considered relatively strong compared to a lot of the other better charts that we've seen. This one going all the way back to 2014, actually. So it does have quite the history here, and I would be bullish on it, to be fair, but I just don't think that this one deserves a lot of praise in comparison to a lot of the other ones, which are making new all-time highs upon new all-time highs, when this one's still kind of in its accumulation zone, which again is very likely to get a markup, but not relatively strong. On the edge of a breakout, yeah, I'd say so. Above about 12.75 cents, I would say that would be your breakout territory, and would imply move back up to about almost a quarter, actually. So it would look pretty damn good there. Ricky Bobby says, I'm gonna fight COVID nonsense with my immense Bitcoin bags. Are you just gonna throw your magic and Emily monies at them or something? Thanks for the riches you have made and saved me. Hey man, glad to hear that that served you well. Jesus fucking Christ, Tristan cannot stop goddamn spamming. All right, Daniel Garcia with the last one today. I think we do gotta get a move on here a bit. Really liked your quantum moments psychological video and how to deal with FOMO. Do you have one on FUD psychology when market is crashing? Would love to hear your thoughts. I have a whole playlist there, Daniel Garcia. So if you go through the playlist, yes, there is definitely probably several videos on FOMO. So it'll be in the same playlist there. I think I just literally called it like this, I don't know, psychological 101 or psychological playlist or whatever the fuck. It should be rather obvious. It's in the same playlist. And yes, there are several videos on FOMO specifically. Yes. Jimmy Brand says, my favorite weird hair man MicroStrategy thoughts. I imagine it's going to be following whatever Bitcoin's doing, so probably heading up and bouncing off the $700 level that we spoke about last week. And holy shit, or sorry, I mean 550 level. Jesus Christ, man. Yep, I'd be looking for upside here. I'd be looking for a retest of like $900 and probably does, move onwards and upwards from there. This is a clear reversal on the weekly, and I'd be looking for it to try some more upside coming into next week, especially probably back up to about $900 or so. Looks pretty good to me. Dr. Bitcoin says, hey, Krown, I don't know about pretty good, but at least short-term, medium-term, pretty good. It's going to follow whatever Bitcoin does. And I look at this one as kind of like a hindsight trade for Bitcoin. Bitcoin moves first, MicroStrategy moves second, to a lesser degree, of course, as well. But we do see, a nice correlation between them, especially for the last few months, actually. Hey, Krown, remind me again which exchange you prefer these days. I don't want to really endorse any exchange because I don't like, there's problems with every exchange. Now, which exchange do I think is probably the best for trading right now? Probably Bybit. I do have a link in the description below. Don't feel fucking obligated to use or anything like that. And I wouldn't put my fucking whole heart and soul behind them either. There's several issues with them. I mean, they've been having issues recently with liquidity issues, but more importantly, what they have issues with is not following through on what they say they're going to fucking do. So when they first kind of courted me to do a little bit of an affiliate, they said we were going to, and I'm going to be very fucking open and honest about this because I think that it's important for people to know. And I don't like how they fucking treated me in this. They told me that, and this was in December, mind you, They told me that we will have futures contracts for Bitcoin, and I think maybe a few others as well, within the next 2 weeks. That was in December. We are now in March, and I don't believe that they're there, or at least if they are, they're fucking illiquid as hell. So, and they also told me that options would be coming as well, and I don't see any of that. So I'm pretty, I wouldn't say pissed about it. You can't obviously make them do what you want them to do, but it says something to me when you don't follow through on your word, especially like, months later, right? And no, like, what's it called? No notification of that either, because that was like the reason why I was like, oh yeah, okay, this sounds good. But fair enough. They do have the best liquidity right now, I'd say, for all of the Wild West exchanges. But here's a real deal, man. Here's a real answer, Dr. Bitcoin. What's going to happen in these next couple of years, and we're already seeing it right now, is we're going to see all these crypto shit exchanges, all these Wild West exchanges either get washed out or they're going to be forced to comply with traditional rules, and we'll see them either be incorporated into the traditional world, or we'll just see them washed out in favor of new trading instruments on traditional lands. We're going to see the combination of the two in this next couple of years. I'd imagine we're going to see very likely a Bitcoin ETF. I'd say I've been saying for 2021. Very, 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 very likely, maybe 2022, but I've been saying 2021 for a while now, and I'd still stick with that. I do think that it is happening. You can see the infrastructure being built up, and that's where things are headed, and that's good. It legitimizes things. We don't want this fucking weird cryptocurrency, or at least I don't want this weird cryptocurrency dream of like Bitcoin's gonna replace everything. No, it's not. It's fucking not. It's not gonna solve cancer. Okay, it's just an inanimate object that you can store wealth in. That's all that it is. That's all that it fucking is, man. That's really cool. That's actually really, really awesome. But stop making this in some weird romantic idea that it's gonna, solve every goddamn issue that exists in the world. Hey, what's up, Mac Douglas? Buy Elsa a new pair of shoes, or y'all enjoy steak dinner at your favorite steakhouse that you've been banned from. Those fuckers. Yeah, man. Elsa actually just messaged me. She said that probably need to go to the doctor soon. So I think we'll be wrapping this up after the last few questions here and make our move on there. John Johnson says, do you view heavily leveraged trading as gambling or strategy? I view not having a strategy as gambling. I view real trading as obviously not gambling, or it's always going to have an air of gambling because there is an air of randomness, no shit. But what separates a gambler from a professional trader is the fact that you understand the statistical narrative of setting these sorts of things up. You understand the interplay between risk management, position management, and entry. Obviously, at the very fucking basis, that is the the bottom line of what needs to be done. And in that case, I would say it depends. It depends. It's obviously a nuanced it's obviously a nuanced question. You can't just say one or the other. It's like, if I can look at someone and know if they're a gambler or if they're an actual trader, and that depends upon, do they actually have a strategy, and is that strategy based off of something that actually fucking works to begin with? You know, people will come up to me and say, Krown, is this strategy good? I'm like, did you back test it? No. It's like, what the fuck, man? Hey, do the bare minimum. It's like, what the fuck is wrong? What the fuck is wrong with you? You would never do this in any other facet of your life unless you just like literally like burning money. But again, it's like, look, do the fucking bare minimum, do the back testing, do the strategy, do all of that, and that will tell you if you're gambling or not. You should know the statistics. You should know the fucking statistics, and I have videos on that as well, for very, very basic stuff. But apparently, people like responded some of the best to that video, and I'm like, look, man, that's a yeah. Hey, if I care more about your goddamn strategy and your success than you're fucked. You're fucked, man. You're fucked. Look, you gotta care more. You gotta care more. You have to do the bare minimum, and that is doing the bare minimum. For example, is anything ever so sure as to go 20x even in the very short term? No. Well, no, unless you know insider information. But that's a completely different question at that point. Ricky Bobby says, quick peek at the hourly on FTM USD. Man, we already looked at this bullshit here, but yeah, I'm sure. FTM USD on, I think you said Binance or something like that. You said the hourly specifically. Why the hourly, man? Hourly probably does try to bounce off this level. But again, it's this level, right? Or is this the same? Yeah, this is the same chart. Need to see it hold 42 cents. So if it does not hold 42 cents, big problems, probably all the way down to like 30 cents, especially on a daily. I know you asked about an hourly, but I don't think an hourly is even relevant, to be honest with you. Probably does try to bounce first though. So give it a chance, then come back to it. If the daily closes under there, then you got problems. Can you look at Boeing? Sure, man. This is going to be the last one too. Last one. Symbol BA. Boeing on New York Stock Exchange. And I haven't looked at this one in a while too. I'd be looking for a continuation coming in the next couple of weeks here. I'd be looking at a target of like 290 or $300 in the next couple of weeks. This one's putting in some nice higher lows. We can see that's even taken up the high of this current, current consolidation. So I'd be looking for this one to actually try a breakout move over the next like month or two, probably towards $300. I'd be looking for maybe a short-term pullback back down to like 245 to open up next week, but I'd be looking for a long-term continuation to the upside here. I mean, this one is technically putting in higher lows too over the long period of time. All right, fellas, I actually do need to get going here. I think Elsa needs to go to the hospital, so we'll wrap this bitch up. No wrap up today because there's more important things in life right now. And yeah, I think we got our appointment soon, so that's my signal to go. All right, fellas, and also non-fellas, whatever the fuck you identify as, I want to wish you a happy, healthy rest of your Friday. Best of the best as always. Been really enjoying doing these videos once again, and really enjoy the community. So thanks for coming on out. It's been a fucking pleasure, and I want to wish you well. Take care and see you.